Hi, Claudia. My name is Eric. What brings you into counseling today?
Hi, Eric. Well, I'm here because I am having some issues with my mom and uh, setting boundaries with her and getting along with her. And so I just need to talk through some things that I want to find some solutions of how I can improve my relationship with her.
Yeah, I understand. Can you describe to me a little more about some of the difficulties?
Well, we've always had a strained relationship. I had growing up
Hmm.
just a very different upbringing than very traditional Hispanic upbringing and conservative. And so, core belief in my family is you don't get divorced and you stay married for your entire life, no matter what kind of relationship you have. And so, I was in an abusive relationship a few years ago, and so I finally decided to end it. And that's where things started breaking down with my
Hmm.
mom. She did not approve of it. And so, um, you know, just a lot of even getting along with her and visiting her has been a hardship. And then, so now a couple years later, I got married, and so she didn't approve of that. And so it's been one thing after the other. But the thing is that she's elderly, she needs help. And so I'm there to help her, but I'm trying to find solutions on how to deal with her and set some boundaries with her so that I can actually help her, but that it doesn't, you know, um, impede in other ways of
Mm,
what I'm going through with her.
I understand. You feel like you're being pulled in different directions with caring for your mom, with also having difficulty in communication, and where there was that was lacking, and um, you feel discouraged that it's your mother not wanting to protect you. Am I kind of feeling, do I have the right feeling there that what by having these expectations that you don't divorce, but yet you're struggling, there's a disconnect of her
Absolutely.
role.
Absolutely. There's a disconnect. It's hurtful because here I am trying to help her through her ailments and visiting her on the weekends. So she's not nearby. I mean, she's in LA. She's at least 2 hours from here with traffic. And so I make the effort. And a lot of the times I'm met with, just with emotional walls or conflict with her, trying to rehash issues and I'm trying. I have set some boundaries with her as far as like telling her I'm not going to discuss that. I made that decision to get married and so forth. And I made the decision to get a divorce and that's final. But it's still difficult dealing with her. And I know that I want to be that daughter that doesn't, it's not codependent, but it's also there because I know she's still my mom. I want to be there for her health wise and help her. And so it's very draining. And I do feel like I'm a disappointment to her that I did not meet her expectations. And so trying to reconciliate those feelings with what I feel when I see her. I don't
Mhm.
want to feel hatred towards her. I don't want to feel resentment towards her. I want to be able to just show up and try to rebuild that relationship.
Yeah, you feel disappointed, and I'd like to have you sit with that emotion,
Mm.
um, and let me know what that disappointment feels like to you as you do that.
Well, it feels like I'm not good enough. The decisions that I made um, were not of her approval. And so
Mm,
it's always been that battle with her, like trying to be something, always never good
mm,
enough. So,
mm. Well, I'd like to encourage you, um, because what I hear you saying is that you've been told that you're a disappointment, yet you value family and you value that relationship, even though boundaries were set. You value taking care of your mother, and that's not a disappointing thing. I think that you you are showing her through your actions that family is important to you, but there is that disconnect of because of traditions, possibly that's where the miscommunication is. And you spoke earlier on boundaries. Can you explain how you set those boundaries? What your boundaries look like?
Well, yeah, for example, when I was going through the divorce and I told her about it, she was trying to get in the middle and trying to contact the ex-husband or put the grandchildren
Mm,
in the middle type of situation. And so one of my boundaries was like, you are not to contact the ex, you are not, to put my kids in the middle. If you do, I'm gonna have
mm,
to separate our relationship at least for a while because this is toxic and it's not helping me. And so that's an example of it. I had to put my foot down and said, if you keep going that way, I'm not going to see you at least for a while, at least for a time being. So that seemed to help. That helped for a while, even though behind my back, I know she still talks to the ex, which is hurtful still. But when I'm there, she knows better not to, if that makes sense. So.
it does make sense.
Mhm.
It feels like there's more protection for others than there is for you and your daughter. And that's difficult. Am I
Certainly,
close with the emotion there?
yeah, certainly, because I feel like she's looking out for the grandkids, and not her own
Mm,
daughter.
mm. Yeah, I understand. That's difficult.
Mhm.
I'd like you to sit with that emotion and tell me a little more about ways that other people see the effort that you put in and where you're a caregiver.
Well, I do feel that she sees the effort in the sense that, I make the drive
Mm,
and that I do make the errands for her and I take her places and things like that. And I know she does recognize that. Other people as well, my sister recognizes that I go and help her. She's really the one that's in the LA area, so she oversees her more than I can. But she does appreciate me making the effort every Saturday to go and show up for mom. And she knows that our relationship is difficult, so she does encourage me, and says, "That's mom. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing your part as an important family member." And so others do see it, and I am that way even with my own boys, the caregiver. And so sometimes it's hard that I forget about myself to take care of myself.
mm. Yeah, I understand. With I hear a lot of value in pride that you take of helping others, and with that, the deep hurt that you feel is hard to sit with, and it's hard to sit with because you're doing what you felt like she should have been doing all along in that situation, and being pulled in a bunch of different ways, in different directions, contacting the ex when asked not to. Can you tell me a little more about expectations with with your ex-husband and what her solution may have been for you, um, rather than just to stay? Can you explain that a little more to me? What she was looking for from
Yeah,
you?
she was looking for me because in her eyes, I'm the one that made the mistake. And so she was looking for turn back from your ways, go
Mm,
back, even though she knew it was abusive. And so what's really contradicting in my culture is that even if it's abusive, the value of staying together trumps that. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's
mm,
it's it's a very ingrained value in the Hispanic culture. That's why there's so much um emotional and physical violence in our culture. And it's a lot of times it's just overlooked and it's over everybody placed a blind eye, sort of. And so though she knew why, in her mind, what I did was worse than what I was living through. I don't know if that makes sense. And so our expectation even now, I think, is, oh, maybe someday she'll go back.
I
Because
understand.
that makes her look bad with her community, with her family, with her church. That makes her look like she didn't parent correctly.
Mm. That's a heavy burden to bear for you, especially while being abused and not feeling support from everyone. It feels like everyone abandoned you.
Mhm. They did.
That's really difficult. So I'd like to recap a few things here. And before I do that, what can you work on setting something positive for yourself this week as a goal that we can set, where when we do meet again, we can focus on the positives, or at least one thing that you did that was with your mother where you made some headway there.
Okay, so I think next time I go visit her, I'm gonna make an effort to try to do an activity where it doesn't involve any type of discussion, that it just involves spending just quality time with her. And we don't have to bring up any topics. And so I like, for example, taking her out to eat. It's a big fiasco because of her health issues, but I know she really enjoys it. So I think that would be something that would be also helpful to me, because it makes me feel good and make her feel good.
Absolutely. I hear you say that you both feel good when it's not a topic of discussion because of the pain and hurt that you've dealt with, and that you want to value some time with your mother where it's not as hectic, where it's not at that surface, where you can just focus on what you need to do and be there for her and show her that you're there for her in those moments.
Right.
So I just wanted to talk about what we talked about today and recap. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anything from you. You've dealt with some past trauma with the ex-husband, and not only in that trauma, but you didn't feel supported. You didn't feel supported by your mom. There's big cultural issues, and you really like her to see that that you were the one that was really being affected, that it doesn't have to do with how she's perceived. It's about what was happening to you, and ways that we can have that happiness, as you discussed, in setting a goal of just getting together and enjoying a meal, and getting back to just mother-daughter time, and not have to worry about that past is something that you're interested in. Do you think that that's something that you're going to be able to do, to take her out and have that meal like you said you would?
I think so.
Okay. And I want to make sure, like I said, I'm not missing anything. Moving forward, in this week, I want you to think about, other small goals we can set to strengthen that relationship that was damaged, and know that you are, although you're being pulled in many different directions, you value your family at the end of the day, and you value your relationship with your sister and your kids and your husband, and ultimately that you've made the right decision and you took care of yourself, and you're here to take care of your mother too. So that's all the time we have for today. Let's go ahead and recap on that dinner visit that you have, and we'll pick up and see how that went.
Okay, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, good job.
Oh, that was bad.
No, no, it was not.
I got,
Okay, so identify two areas of strength from the session. I think first thing that impacted me is that you were real. You weren't like pretending to be happy. You weren't pretending to be, you were just there. And so that gives like some sort of comfort that you're just not pretending, you're just calm and you're real about who you are. So you have like presence. I thought that your responses were very calm and thoughtful. And so I felt hurt, like when you actually took your time you can tell you were thinking through before you said them. And so that helped me slow down and process as well. So I thought that was a plus. It helped me calm down and just feel present with you. I thought you were very positive that you were just empathetic about my situation, that you understood what I was going through, and you went there with me. You led me and made me sit with the feelings, which was difficult, which is good as a counselor. And you facilitated the meeting really well. You actually brought it through, through great transition, especially like when you said, tell me more about your relationship with your mom. So that allowed a space for me to actually give you details and examples. And when I went, what I really thought was interesting, that when I went general with boundaries, you took it and let it like give me specifics. And that's
Mhm.
to understand my situation better. And I thought that was interesting. Areas of growth. I think you were very accurate. You were able to give me back the information accurately. I felt your pain of not wanting to ask a question if I have to pick something, but you did, because I did as well. But
Oh,
but then it naturally just went there. So I don't know if it's
mhm.
not good feedback or bad feedback, but so we're not supposed to ask questions. So that's one thing I noticed, but it did
Right.
facilitate the conversation. I don't
Mm.
think it broke the connection at all, but you can tell you were hesitant. You're like, I'm just gonna say it. And when you summarize, and I'm going to learn from you, when you summarize, it felt positive versus like when I said it, you said you felt stressed when I was telling you at the end. I
Mm.
didn't feel that. I felt like, okay, he heard me, and this is why, and this is, he remembered who I'm having the issues with and what I'm trying to repair here. So I I think you facilitated the session well. I felt like I was in a real session, like you had mentioned as well. And the only thing is nonverbal communication. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it's because we're on Zoom, you move your head a lot. And so that can be
Yeah.
distracting.
Okay.
But I don't know
Thank
if
you.
you naturally like that. You know what I mean? So
Sometimes yeah, I think sometimes I could be that way. So I definitely understand that.
yeah,
It's good that you picked up on that because I need
yeah,
reminders. So I
yeah.
appreciate the feedback.
It didn't interrupt the session, but I noticed that. Like,
Yeah,
but overall, I think
absolutely.
it's fantastic, and you can tell that you're in the field already and appreciate it. I felt heard and I
Oh,
felt touched. I didn't think I was going to get touched, but thank you.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, great. Of course. Awesome. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah. All right. Shall we stop recording?
Yes, I'm good.